Welcome, everybody. Thank you for coming. No, don't be sorry. You're good. It's a lot of people we haven't seen one another for a little while, so it's nice to see people in person. And I apologize with the jackhammer. We moved it to Tuesdays to avoid the lawnmower. And then I asked him if he could just keep it to a minimum between 9 and 10, and his response was, "I'm on a time limit, and I need to get it done." So it'll be coming, yes. So I apologize. When you're in the middle of balance, you're going to be hearing this na 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 na. I'll try to speak to it a little bit and relax our minds. All right, so we'll come to a seated position that you can be relatively comfortable in. And then from your seat, grow your spine nice and tall. And a nice way to maybe visualize that is think about your jaw bones lifting up towards the ceiling. That will elongate your neck. It'll also provide more space for the breath to move into the upper part of the lungs. And as you inhale, the back of the lungs rise up slightly, and as you exhale, the back of the lungs fall down and wide across the span of the low back. So as you inhale, the back of the lungs are going to rise up slightly, filling the space between the back of the body and the front of the body. As you exhale, the back of the lungs settle wide across the low back. You begin to feel spacious around the mid-waist and the lower part of your rib cage. So every time you inhale, it's a gentle lifting of the heart, lifting of the ribs, extension of the spine. And as you exhale, you maintain that length, but just allow the rib cage to settle back down. Starting to fill our lungs with the fresh air. Beginning the process of moving into our bodies. And that deeper connection to ourselves. And from this place of connection, set your intention for your practice today. And when you've come to settle on your intent, support that with the breath. That lift of the heart, lift of the lungs, lift of the head. With the inhale. And maintaining that extension with the exhale. We'll draw the hands to heart center, take a full breath in. And a long extended breath out. Make your way into a tabletop. You'll step the right hand and left knee forward. So you're in a staggered cat-cow position. Your hips are going to be asymmetrical. One's going to be lifted more than the other. And begin to bend and arc through your spine. Drawing awareness to that waistband, to the space between your ribs and hips. Just notice if one side is lengthening as the other side is shortening. And how the breath and expansion of the low lungs and the breath pulling into the low mid-back can help you achieve space and width in that shortened side. You'll come to a neutral tabletop. Extend the right leg behind you. The left arm is going to extend forward for spinal extension. Now, if you have sensitive knees here, you might want to roll up your mat. You're going to glide the hips back over the heels. Now, you may be able to come down where the hip comes down to the heels. You may be able to come down just a fraction of that. So you're gliding the hips back, keeping the fingers and the toes reaching away from one another and bringing some mobility into the hip joint. Hi, good. Keep moving, keep breathing, bring the focus back to your own practice, your own body. And then you're going to guide the hips all the way back and come to rest with the belly onto the thigh for a compression through the hip and through the knee joint. The arm and the leg are still reaching away from one another. Take a full breath into the length of your side body and a softening into that compression you feel through your hip. A deep breath in and a deep breath out. You'll come back up through a neutral tabletop. Press through the top of the feet. Come out. Reach the arms, spinal extension. Reach long, long, long. Level out through your pelvis and spread wide through the upper mid-back. Bring both hands down, tabletop. One regular cat-cow, round through the back and arc through the spine. We'll step the left knee forward, the left arm forward. Bring the right hand underneath the right shoulder. And asymmetric cat-cows. So you're just a bit staggered. You're going to take the right knee, or the left hand and the left knee, forward of your shoulder and forward of your hip. The right hand's going to come underneath your shoulder. The right knee is underneath your shoulder. And then from here, just bend and arc through the spine. Yeah. Finding that nice rounding through the upper shoulders and the dip in and the low dropping of the belly as you extend back through your cat and cows. So you want to feel that asymmetry within the body, the waistband, and along the ridges of your spinal column. Come back to a neutral tabletop. Spinal extension, extend the back leg, right leg extends, or I'm going to be opposite than you. So it's going to be your left leg extends back. You're going to begin to glide the hips forward and back. And what you're feeling into is that degree of compression in the socket of the hip, as well as how much flexion the knee is able to handle, how much load. So come back to the breath and breathe as you move. And then you'll extend the leg all the way behind you. Let the belly rest down onto the knee. Relax through the jaw and through the upper part of the neck. Take a full breath in and out. To come out, hands come underneath the shoulder. You're going to press into the top of the foot. Work your quad. Find spinal extension. Good. Now balance out the hips as best as possible. Balance out your rib cage as best as possible. And can you continue to breathe? Neutral tabletop. Cat-cow. You'll come to a neutral tabletop. Extend the right leg behind you and keep it extended nice and long. Curl the left toes underneath you, and from the reach of your leg, press yourself up into a three-legged downward facing dog. So strong arms, shoulder blades widen to the sides of your mat. Even pressure between both of your palms. Take a full breath in and out. Lower the right knee down to the earth, downward facing dog. Sorry, just lower the right leg down just to downward facing dog. We'll meet in downward facing dog. Good. Take a full breath in and out. Now lower the right knee down to the earth. Right hand plants down, spiral open to a modified side plank. Your right palm and right knee are grounded. Your left palm lifts up. Now maybe the left leg lifts up to hip height. Maybe it stands grounded on the mat. Rolling the top hip back and the bottom hip forward. Notice how that draws the rib cage back. Take a full breath in and out. Arrive back in a neutral tabletop. Very nice, everybody. The left leg will extend back up to hip height. Find the palms of your hands firm and even on the mat. Three-legged downward facing dog. Reach back with your left leg. So the opposite leg, Michelle, I don't know if you did the right leg first, so the opposite leg, yeah. Now we're not straining to reach the leg. This should be somewhat enjoyable as you create space and length down the left leg lines. Breath in and breath out. Lower the legs, downward facing dog. Full breath in. Even smooth breath out. With intention, lower the left knee down to the earth. Make it a smooth, fluid movement. Open up to a modified side plank. Your left hand is grounded, left knee is grounded. Nice. The top hip rolls back, the bottom hip rolls under. Create stability through your hips. Take a full breath in and out. Come to a neutral tabletop. Both toes curl under evenly. Even that pinky edge, you want to stretch to the outer edge of the foot. Press yourself back to a downward facing dog. Now if you're feeling this in your wrist crease or the palms of your hands, knuckles are an option, forearms are an option. You can also try pointing your fingers out to the sides of your mat and see if that takes a little pressure off. Now the arms and legs are working evenly, so just as much push into the palms, you're feeling just as much reach through the heels and the spreading of the balls of the feet. Walk the feet to meet your hands at the top of your mat for ragdoll. Bring a slight bend to your knees. Take the hands behind the nape of the head. Smooth out the nape of your head to release any tension through the upper neck muscles, as well as through the top of the shelf of the shoulders. Now, are you breathing and are you connecting? Release the hands down by your sides, pressing in through your feet, rise up to a mountain pose. Bend the elbows nice and wide. And hold the elbows nice and wide. Gaze over to your right palm. Flip the left palm down. Come back through center. Gaze over to your left palm. Flip the right palm down. Come back to center. You're going to move through 2 times on each side with the focus of that rotation through your upper cervical spine. Good. So looking at that hand, really making the eyes and the neck work. It's really important feedback for our mind to know how far we can look and rotate our neck up and around. We lose that ability as we age because everything is so straightforward. And when you feel even and balanced, you'll reach your elbows nice and wide. We'll all gather here. Take a full breath in and out. Through strong feet, rise up through mountain pose. Reach the arms forward and out, forward fold. Slight bend through those knees. brings you to a halfway lift, long spine. Bring the knees to a slight bend. Spread and push your sit bones out wide behind you as you lengthen the mandible bones, your chewing bones, forward and out. Very nice, Paula. Forward fold. Plant your hands, step your feet back to a high plank. Lower the right knee down to the earth, open up to a modified side plank. Rotate, and then the cervical spine will follow. Good. Take the left hand, bring it to the top of the left foot. You'll draw the left heel in towards your seat, draw the kneecap behind the hip, and then roll open through that top hip, open through the rib cage, and breathe. Inhale, exhale. Without slingshotting the foot, it's a release and controlling the leg down, back to a tabletop or three-legged dog. So with the left leg will reach for your three-legged dog, and you'll hold here for a moment. Drop the left heel towards the right sit bone, open up the hip in your three-legged downward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Very nice. So we're looking for that nice diagonal line from the left shoulder out through the left heel when we open that hip up. And then meet in a downward facing dog. Take a full cycle of breath in and out. Breath in and breath out. Walk the feet to meet your hands at the top of your space. Rise up to mountain pose. Bring the elbows to shoulder height, gaze to the left, drop down the left, gaze to the right, drop down the left hand, and then alternate sides. So along with the gaze, you're finding that full rotation through the shoulder joint. Pressing the palm as far behind you as possible as you look and rotate. Good. When you're nice and even high, we'll bring the elbows wide. Spread the elbows away from one another, lift them up a little higher, and then melt the tension around from on top of the neck. Yeah, there we go. Breath in. Couldn't think of the word. Breath out. I'm waiting for the jackhammer to come back into play. Mountain pose, reach the arms up. Forward fold. Halfway lift, long spine. Forward fold. Plant your hands. Step your feet back to a high plank. Lower the left knee down to the earth. Modified side plank, open up. Stabilize through left hip, left shoulder. Lift the right leg up. Right hand grabs for your foot. Think about rolling that top hip back, finding more length across the top of the thigh. Breath in and breath out. You'll lower yourself back through a tabletop or a three-legged dog with the right leg reaching long. Keeping the reach of the right leg, bring the right heel in towards the left sit bone. Send the gaze underneath your right shoulder, and from the outer right pinky to the outer right toe, can you feel that nice diagonal? Downward facing dog. Inhale, exhale. Right leg high. Step it forward to low lunge. Rise up to high crescent. The top of the hips are going to drop back as the pubic bone draws forward. Now find the width across the back of the body, sending that breath into the low lobes of the lungs. The back leg will step forward to chair pose. The weight shifts back, arms come out nice and wide. We take these wide arms, one's going to come to the low back, then extend out straight, and then one to the top of the head. Find your breath, slow the movement down, and focus on keeping those elbows wide and high. So we're looking for that internal, external rotation through the humerus bone, the arm bone, relative to the socket of the shoulder. Good, yeah. Now we'll keep the right hand to the low back, the left palm to the base of the neck. Press the neck into the hand, lift the chest up, and tuck the tailbone underneath you. Take a full breath in and out. The arms will reach forward, the left leg will step back to that high crescent. From your high crescent, open up to a warrior two. The back foot pivots down, the weight lands into the outer edge of the back foot. The whole trunk of the body comes to stack over the hips, and feel into your hips and where the two femur bones plug in. Reverse warrior. Extended side angle. Now breathe. Some of us hold our breath. Continue to nourish the body with that fresh oxygen. Reverse your warrior. Low lunge. Back foot pivots, left knee lowers down to the earth. Rise up through a crescent moon, keeping the hips reaching forward. The front foot is helping you with stability. You might want to step it up a little further. That might help you find more extension through the front of the body. Good. Take a breath in and a breath out. Bring your hands to your heart space. Revolve crescent moon, left elbow outside of the right thigh. As you press the elbow into the thigh, the left hip is going to spiral and rotate down and forward. See if you can't lift more through that left outer ear, left inner ear, and your jaw. Good. Breath in and breath out. Unwind the spine, bring the right hand to the inside of the right thigh and hold here. Keep your hands at heart space and then revolve away from the right inner thigh, twisting in the opposite direction. Stabilize that foot by engaging through the right inner thigh, pressing the inner thigh into the elbow. Take a full breath in and out. The right hand will plant down in front of the right foot. Hold here. You're going to move into extended side angle. So the back leg is just going to pivot. Desiree is a nice example of this, and your back and your extended side angle. So orient your feet accordingly. Very nice. Press your hips forward to my voice. Lean the chest back, and ample space along that left side. That's where the focus is. Breath in and breath out. Up to a star pose. Press into the feet. Wide-legged forward fold. Walk the hands over to the left leg. Grab a hold of the ankle, the calf, or maybe the heel. Draw weight to the outer edge of the right foot. And breathe from outer right hip to left shoulder. Walk the hands around to the right hand side. Hold on to the right ankle. Dropping some weight into the left hip. Drawing the left sit bone back. Breathing into the left side body. Now, big balance challenge. You're going to maintain the hold on your foot if you can. Feel free to bring your fingers to the side. You're going to pick your feet up, pivot them forward to a low lunge. Low lunge to standing splits. That left leg is going to go high, high, high. Maybe holding on to the ankle, really grounding down through the right foot. Nice, Melissa, melting the chest down. Forward fold. Rise up to a mountain pose. Feel the difference between right and left leg. Give the brain that feedback of the sensations. Forward fold. Halfway lift. Forward fold. Step the feet back. You can step, you can hop to a high plank. Slowly lower all the way down to your belly. Point the toes behind you. Bring the fingertips in line with the shoulders and rest the forehead down on the mat. And massage the forehead back and forth, loosening up that tension before we move into extension. Now the mandible, the jaw lengthens forward, press up into your cobra and hold. Bring your attention down to your hips. Notice if you have more space along the front of the left hip from your previous postures. Draw the elbows in, engage through the triceps. Push yourself up a little bit higher. Extend the ribs and the heart up and out. Nice, Julie. And then release. Release it down. You're going to breathe through that twice, 2 more times with your own breath. We'll come to meet laying on the belly, forehead releases down. Press yourself up through a tabletop or a high plank into your downward facing dog. Breath in and breath out. Breath in and breath out. The left leg reaches high. Step it forward to a low lunge. Left leg steps forward to low lunge. There you go. You'll rise up through a high crescent. Nice stability, Paula. Beautiful. Soften your shoulders, widen the upper mid-back, nice and wide. Good. Full breath in and out. Set your gaze forward. The back leg is going to step up to a chair pose. Arms are going to come wide by your side. Hand to low back, hand to back of the head. Up and around. Drop the weight into the heels. Bring the tailbone underneath you and lift the heart and lift the lungs. And then come to the left hand pressing into the nape of the neck pressing back into the hand. Release into your high crescent. The right leg is going to step back, open up into your high crescent lunge. That right femur head drops forward and down as the left outer hip draws back. Open up to a warrior two. So warrior two, a nice wide stance. And it's an equal lengthening of your inner and your outer thigh towards your toes, pointing forward. Reverse warrior, side body. Breathe into the ribs. Extended side angle. Reverse your warrior. Low lunge, feet pivot forward, back knee lowers down. to crescent moon. Rise up through your crescent moon. Hug in through those inner thighs. Good. Lean the weight of the pelvis forward and the ribs back. Bring your hands to heart center. Remind yourself of your intent. Elbow, right elbow to the outside of the left thigh. As you revolve around your midline of the body, from tailbone out through the crown of the head, you're spiraling and rinsing out. Unwind that spiral. Bring the left elbow to the inside of the left thigh. Engage through your left inner thigh, and then revolve the heart, ribs, lungs, tailbone, pelvis up and away from the left inner thigh. Deep breath in. Rinsing breath out. The left hand will plant to the inside of the left foot. You'll open up to extended side angle. The back foot is going to pivot down. Nice, Lori. There you go, Julie. Grounding down through the right heel. Getting really solid and clear through your feet. That's your foundation. Strong rise up to a star pose. Press into that whole foot. Wide-legged forward fold. Walk the hands over to the right ankle, right calf, or right heel. Hug the thigh down towards the chest. So the QL muscle is elongating. It's the muscle that holds on to the ribs and the lumbar spine, as well as your pelvis. It helps to draw the rib cage low and wide on that mid-back as you take a deep breath in and out. Then walk the hands around to the left leg, drawing back through that right hip, finding length along the QL. You'll maintain the hold on the leg. Continue to pivot the feet around to the front of your space. Standing splits. The right leg's going to go high. Maybe the hands are still at the ankle for balance. Nice, Michelle. Warrior block. Now drop the head down, release that tension. Forward fold. Both feet grounded down, slight bend in the knee. Rise up through mountain. Bring your hands to heart space. Soft gaze or close the eyes. Notice if you've brought some balance back into the lower body. Inhale, mountain pose. Forward fold. Halfway lift. Forward fold. Plant the hands, step the feet back, high plank. And your vinyasa through. Downward facing dog is where we meet. 3 breaths. The right leg reaches high. Step forward to a low lunge. Rise up through crescent. Steady your gaze. Relax that effort. Find the breath, Mom. Calling my mom out, breathing. She's holding her breath. I can see it. The back leg is going to step forward, coming to a chair. Right hand to the nape of the neck, left hand behind you. Maybe the bind happens, maybe it doesn't. You're working your fingers to touch. The right leg lifts high. Airplane variation. The right leg is going to lift up to hip height. The elbows are going to work away from one another, but the fingers are going to maintain their touch or their connection. Good. Now lower the hips, lower the ribs so they're in one even plane. Take a full breath in as you reach the body long. Step the right foot back. Maybe the elbows stay nice and wide as you reach back. Good. Lift the tip of the right elbow up. Take a breath in and a breath out. Draw the left shoulder, the left arm back and down. Take another breath in and a breath out. Thank you, Paula, for that. You can always grab behind your low back if that's too much through the shoulder joints. Open up to a warrior two, stretching the arms nice and wide, giving some freedom to those joints. Reverse warrior. Hold your reverse warrior, straighten through the front leg, triangle pose. Reach your left arm forward, forward, forward. Triangle. The outer right hip draws back as the left hip tucks under. Can I touch you, Lori? Yeah. Okay. The breath is full and present. Inhale. Exhale. Half moon. Send a slight bend through that forward leg. Lift that back leg up. Soften as much as you can through the toes. You're stabilizing with that outer left hip. I'm waiting for the jackhammer. Boom, 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 boom. Take the top arm to the low back. Draw the elbow behind you. Smooth out that tailbone. Give yourself more stability through your pelvis. Very nice. Your release is extended side angle. Bend through the forward knee first. A light placement of the back foot down. Reverse triangle. Straighten through the forward leg. Reach the left arm away from one another, from the left toes. Take a full breath in and out. Up to star, star to horse. Nice and wide in your stance of horse. The toes release their grip and the weight falls into the sole of the foot. Elbows go nice and wide. Inhale, straighten your arms, straighten through the legs. As you exhale, draw the elbows behind you. Keep the ribs nice and wide. Come through your horse. Good. Inhale, press through the feet. Exhale. One more. We're bringing that energy in. Exhaling, feeling into how deep we can find our flexion through our knees and our hips. Rise up. Point the toes forward, wide-legged forward fold. Hands come around to the left ankle, walk them around. Lift the toes up, point them forward. Here's your second chance at standing splits, holding on to the ankle. So pivot your toes all the way around, all the way around. Standing splits, propel yourself off of that back leg. Nice. Breathe. Inhale. Exhale. Low lunge is your release. Back, front leg meets the back, high plank. Your vinyasa through. Left leg reaches high. Step forward to a low lunge. Settle the feet, rise up through high crescent. Set your gaze. Step the back leg forward. Chair pose. Your opposite grip with your hand. Right hand to the nape of the neck or whatever you did on the other side. Maybe the bind happens, maybe it doesn't. You want to maintain the reach of the fingers and the extension of the elbows away from that reach. Your left leg lifts to an airplane. Airplane lands, arms maintain their bind. to a lunge. So back leg lowers, back to our lunge. The tip of the left elbow lifts up as the right shoulder draws back. So external rotation, internal rotation, opposite on the sides of the arm bones. Open up to warrior two. Straighten through your front leg, triangle pose, reach the right arm forward. Three deep breaths. From your triangle pose, bring a slight bend into your forward knee. Half moon. Challenge yourself to keep the toes nice and light. Very nice. Bring the left heel in towards the seat if you'd like. Did we do that on the other side? No. Okay, so keep that leg nice and long. I was watching Michelle. It must feel really good. You're going to lower yourself back through extended. Nice light landing. Very nice. Ground through the right foot. Press into the sole of the right foot. Reverse triangle. Rise up through star. Nice placement of the feet. Horse, lower into your horse. Take the hands behind the hips, drop them down behind the hips. Elbows grab. It's okay, Mom, whatever feels good. It's what you want to do. Straighten through your legs, point the toes forward. Forward fold. The forearms are going to come away from the low back. Gaze goes in between your wide legs. Then you'll switch the palms, the opposite hand to the opposite elbow, or just which one is on top, sorry. Then release both arms down by your side. Walk the hands over to the right ankle. Pivot yourself with your feet and the stability of your core. Standing splits, the propelling off of the back leg up into your standing split. Nice, Lindsay. Low lunge is your release. Back leg meets the front leg meets the back high plank, and your vinyasa through. Very nice, everybody. You made that look so easy. I'm going to have to step up the challenge. Breath in and breath out. Step the right leg forward. Low lunge. Standing splits. Back leg lifts up. Shiva squat. Keep the chamber of the Shiva squat. You're going to come all the way down into your seat. Left arm reaches up, scoops the outside of the right thigh. The right hand comes behind you. Jaw lifts to elongate the spine, rotate up and around. Now are you levitating the back of the lungs up and widening when they release back down with the breath? You'll unwind. Bring the left knee as best you can to stack on top of the right for cow face. It might not stack, and if it doesn't, bring your legs out wide like this and just crisscross applesauce like that. Now hands again can come here, or we're going to work that bind one more time. Lean forward. And the targeted area is the outer hips as well as deep into the joints of the shoulder. So you don't want to push past your edge. And your edge is that place where you feel change occurring. It doesn't have to be forced. It's just a natural adaptation. Breath in and breath out. Good, one more round. In and out. Bring the spine up tall. You're going to rock yourself forward. Bring your palms down, and you're going to reverse the same way you came back in. The left foot is going to plant. The right leg is going to lift up, or it might not be the exact same way. And you're going to bring the right leg down for three-legged dog. Left leg, right leg come even in one line. Left palm, right palm even in one line. Downward facing dog. Left leg steps forward. Standing splits. Right leg lifts up. Shiva squat. Hold your Shiva squat, compressing top of the thigh to hamstring. Then slowly lower yourself all the way down to your seat. Grab the outer thigh, pull it in towards your chest. All those tissues and ligaments that hold on to that IT band are getting stimulated as you rotate the spine up and around. Unravel. Top knee comes on top or crisscross applesauce. Cow face pose. Opposite arm on top if you're working that bind. Otherwise, hands are at the elbows. Bring the chest down towards your legs. Relax the top of the neck and the top of the shoulders. When you melt through the upper trapeze and the layers of muscles underneath, which are your rhomboids and your external, your spinal erecti muscles, maybe you find a bit more width across the upper back. Even though you're binding and contracting, we still look for that wide space. You'll release. Bring the hands in front of you. Plant through that back foot. It should be there for you to put weight into. The leg will go high. Downward facing dog. Come forward to a high plank. Lower yourself all the way down to the mat. Bring your forearms down to the earth. Come up into a Sphinx posture. So I'm going to show you the next movement. So just gaze up here. This might not be available for everybody, so if it's not, your palms are going to rest by your side. We're going to come down to our bellies. The palms will be facing the mat. You're going to place the palms underneath your hips, in between your two hip bones. We're stretching this part of the carpal tunnel. If that doesn't work for you, the palms are still down. As you lift up, you're going to think about sliding those fingers down towards your hips, or lifting the legs, sliding down towards the hips. Okay. So you'll start by bringing the arms as much underneath the body as you can. And then you'll find 3 breaths wherever you're in that moderate sensation, finding that deep compression through the wrists and the fingers, really good to build bone density, and a nice internal rotation through the upper arm, spreading of the low back. Good. When you're done with your 3, you'll gaze over to one side. Let the cheek rest onto the mat. So palms face, yep, down that way, yep.
The hard way.
The hard way. Yep, you're on the wrong way, Mom. The palms.
It hurts too hard.
Well, then put them to the side of your hips and do it that way. You don't want to hurt yourself. Yep, there we go. Now, we're going to move in the opposite direction. So now the palms are going to come to the low back. You'll interlace your fingers. We're looking to open up and rotate the arm bones back and down. We'll begin with the top of the feet grounded. Inhale, lift your chest up. Think about the arm bones rotating out and wide. Lift your feet and just feel the contrast between the palms down and up. 3 deep breaths. Whenever you're done, you'll bring the opposite cheek to the mat and rest. Then you'll bring the hands to stack, forehead rests on the mat. Let the hips move from side to side. Loosen up any tension at the low back. And bring the hands underneath you. Come to a tabletop position. Press yourself up. Walk the knees a little further behind you. Drop the belly low. The weight comes forward into the belly and forward into the hips. You're going to gaze over your right shoulder as the feet fall to the right. You're feeling this in the side body hip, outer hip. Yeah. To the opposite side. Gaze. See if your gaze has extended from side to side. 2 more times in each direction. Now the knees are going to fall all the way over. Top arm is going to reach up. Grab for the top of the foot. Kick the foot into the hand. Press the thigh forward. This should feel really nice across the thigh. Deep breath in. Are we feeling this along the front line of the body? Good. In and out. Bring the knees to stack. The hips back up. Take that over to the opposite side. Top down grabs for the foot. Kick the foot. Draw the knee back. Press the heel in towards the seat. You wonder which child is doing that little yip.
I know that's right.
And then come back through. Drawing both knees up. Walk the hands back. Roll the shoulders down and back. Come stand tall on your knees. We'll open up through the front of the rib cage with camel, hands to low back. Start to lift the chest up and through. Maybe the hands come to the heels, the hamstrings. We're going to focus for 3 breaths on that rising of the low lungs and the retracting of them falling wide to the mid-waist. So the rib cage, heart, upper chest moves forward and then slightly recoils back. When you're ready, you'll press yourself up, pressing up through the hips, bringing the head right on top of the spine, and then lower the hips down. Bring the legs out from underneath you, extend the legs forward, and slowly lower yourself all the way down onto your mat. Happy baby's pose. Grab for the inner or the outer arches of the feet, or you can grab for the outer shins, outer thighs underneath the knees. Just roll the weight from side to side, loosening up any tension along the spinal column. As you rock through this movement, recall your intention. Bring it back into your experience. If there's any other posture you wish to take before making your way into Shavasana, find it. And we'll all come to rest in final Shavasana when you're ready. Bring your attention back to the rib cage and notice as you inhale, the lower ribs pull away from the earth. And then they settle back down and wide as you exhale out. And if you expand through the breath, it's a natural lifting of the heart, a lifting of the neck. Come to a fetal position on either side of your space. Taking a moment to think about how you want to move into the rest of your day. We'll come to a seated position, either with the eyes closed or the gaze nice and soft. And as we transition back into our lives, just bringing a brief pause and noticing the difference between when you started your practice and closing your practice. Any shifts or changes that have occurred between the two. We'll still in class with 3 breaths together. Hands come to heart. Exhale out the air. Inhale. Exhale. Breath in. Breath out. Breath in. And breath out. With light, love, gratitude, and grace, namaste. Yes. Yeah, good.
It's wonderful.